Chapter 7. Noah yawned. It was too early. The sun wasn't even up yet, and here he was, winding an apron around his waist. He wandered into the kitchen. "Where's Max?" Elle was putting an egg on toast. She took a bite out of it. "He's late. I hope this isn't going to be a trend. I need him here on time." Noah frowned. It wasn't like Max to be late. Despite his easygoing attitude, he was punctual. "Breakfast?" Elle asked as she crunched through another bite. "No, I already had mine," Noah said. "I'll take a coffee if I could." "Help yourself." Noah helped himself to a cup of black coffee. Polly put the last of the delivery of vegetables away, then grabbed a cup of coffee himself. Ramos was already pulling out a couple of flats of eggs in preparation for the customers, which were sure to start coming in shortly. Still, there was no sign of Max. It worried Noah. It wasn't a big deal. He was only a few minutes late. "Do you have a phone number for Max?" Noah asked suddenly. "Yes, I have everyone's numbers. It's on the forms I get you to fill out when you start work," Elle said. "Could you call him?" Noah asked. He had a weird feeling about this. "Noah, he'll be here," Elle said. "He's just a little late." Noah went to the back door and looked out. He didn't see anyone. As long as Max came directly from the men's shelter, he would be going through the side streets. Noah wandered to the corner and had a look. "Noah, we need to get started. There are customers coming in," Elle called from the doorway, her breath making a small fog in the air before dissipating. It was dark in the back alleys and side streets. The street lights were few and far between. Noah didn't like it. He looked and was just about to give up when he thought he saw someone leaning on a fence. Grabbing his phone, Noah put on the flashlight option and shone it toward the figure. "Max?" Noah quickened his steps. "What are you doing?" "Just catching my breath," Max grimaced. He was holding his side, and Noah realized there was blood on his brother's face. Noah ran the last few steps. "What happened?" "Could you not shine that in my face?" Max squinted. "I got jumped by a couple of guys with a baseball bat and steel-toed boots." Noah swore. "Can you make it to the diner?" "Sure," Max said. "Give me a hand, will you?" Noah carefully brought Max's arm around his shoulders, and then put his own arm around Max to help support him. A little lower, Max's breath hitched. Noah complied, and Max let out a hiss of pain. "Higher?" Max nodded. Noah moved his hand up higher on Max's ribs. "Break a rib?" "Cracked a couple, I'm thinking." If anyone would know about broken bones, Max would. "How many bones have you broken now? 13? Max let out a short laugh as they walked. "You're behind the times. It's 17 broken bones, 4 dislocations, 42 stitches, 12 staples, and 1 pin. You've got to slow down. Your body isn't going to last if you keep this up," Noah said. They turned the corner, almost there. "I'm starting to feel old. My bones are becoming more accurate for rain and snow than the weather man," Max stumbled. "Hey, just a few more steps to go, then you can sit." Noah eyed his brother under a street lamp. Bleeding nose, split lip, pale and in obvious pain. "I'm calling for an ambulance." Max shook his head. "No, I'm good. I just need a rest and then I'll be fine." "You're not good. You're barely upright," Noah replied angrily. "I'm not going to the hospital. I let my insurance lapse." Max sighed as he admitted that particular fact. He knew Noah wasn't going to like it. "You what?" Noah said sharply. "Really, Max? What made you think that was a good idea?" "I put the money in the fund for the kids," Max explained. "I wasn't planning on doing anything dangerous, and I'm in really good health." "Not doing anything dangerous? You live in a shelter." Noah gritted his teeth. "I'll pay for the hospital bills for you, and I'm getting your health insurance back." "Noah, you don't need to do that," Max insisted. "I don't need a hospital." They had reached the kitchen door, and Noah led Max in. "Polly, give us a hand here." Polly quickly set down his knife and helped to support Max on the other side. Ramos shook his head and said something. "They grabbed my cell phone and what cash I had on me," Max said to the cook. "Fortunately, they weren't interested in my ID." The door to the restaurant swung open and Elle entered. "Have you guys seen Noah?" "I did." Max tried to smile, but it came out as a grimace. "Max!" Elle stared in shock. "I got mugged. Can I sit down?" he asked. Ramos grabbed a stool and brought it over. Max gratefully sat and hugged his ribs. "This is exactly what I was worried about with you living in a men's shelter," Noah said. "It happened on the way to work, not at the shelter," Max protested. "I think I cracked a couple of ribs. That's the worst." "Are you absolutely sure they're not busted?" Noah asked. He folded his arms and stared down at Max. "I know what a broken rib feels like," Max said grimly. "I'm pretty sure nothing is broken, just badly bruised." "You look like you've lost a battle with a car," Elle said. "I feel like I've lost a battle with a car," Max replied with a half-laugh. Noah sighed. "When are you going to get a normal place to stay? It doesn't have to be great, just somewhere. I'll pay for it." "No," Max said stubbornly. "Should we call an ambulance?" Elle grabbed a towel and wet it. She held it out for Max. "To clean your face." "Thanks." Max gingerly wiped at the blood. "I don't need to go to the hospital. They'll do a bunch of x-rays, tell me nothing is broken, that I've got some cracked ribs and to ice my face. They'll recommend pain meds and rest. Not a big deal." "You look bad," Elle said with a shudder. She tried not to focus on the blood on his face. "It looks worse than it is," Max replied. "I'm okay." "Did you black out?" Noah asked. "I don't know," Max grimaced. "I may have." "Which means you probably have a concussion, so you're not working today," Noah said. "Elle, is there anywhere we can put him so he can lay down?" "There's the apartment upstairs." Elle looked at Max doubtfully. "As long as he can make it up the steps." "Give me a few minutes," Max sighed. "I'll make it upstairs. I got this." Elle was beginning to think Max was full of bravado and not much else at the moment. She looked to Noah, who was grimly staring at his brother. "We'll probably end up carrying him part of the way," Noah said flatly. Polly set down the first aid kit. "Your hand's bleeding." "What?" Max looked at his hand. "Huh, you're right." Polly rolled his eyes and popped open the kit. "You guys see to the customers and I'll bandage up our dish monkey." "Hey, was I just insulted or complimented?" Max asked. "Take it however you want." Polly checked out his hand. "You got a headache?" "I got it in the head. It's kind of expected," Max said dryly. "Are you dizzy?" Polly asked as he wound gauze around the palm. "Do you feel nausea?" "No and no. I'm fine," Max lied. Noah could tell from the way he was wincing at the light. "You're not fine," Noah stated firmly. He had ignored Polly's comment about looking after customers. Right now, looking after his brother was much more important. Max sighed. "You worry too much. You always did. You're like one of those mother hens." "Thanks a lot." Noah shook his head and folded his arms, watching as Polly bandaged up Max's hand. "You're off dishwashing duty with that hand," Elle said. "I can't have it getting infected." "Hey, I need to work. Give me an hour and a glove and I'll be fine," Max protested. "Polly, I need a bit of rolled-up gauze, about half an inch worth." Noah snorted. "Max, you're not going to be fine in an hour." "You still have a job, but you're not working today," Elle stated resolutely. "I'll grab the key for the apartment." Elle left, and Polly closed the first aid kit after handing a square of gauze to Max. "Okay, tell us how you really feel." "I'm fine," Max insisted. He wiggled a tooth, which came out. Max winced and put the gauze in its place. "Max, are you serious?" Noah shook his head. "You're not fine. You need a dentist." "Can't afford one right now," Max said around the gauze. "It's just one tooth. I got all the rest." "Raise the shirt," Polly said. "Why?" Max asked. "So I can see how bad the damage is." "You said they used a bat?" Polly questioned. "And steel-toed boots," Noah added. "That's what he said in the alley." "Show me the ribs." Polly crossed his arms and steadily stared down at Max. Max sighed. "Fine." Noah bit off a curse when Max showed them the bruising. "I'm taking you to the hospital." Polly looked. "Most of the bruising is at the ribs, not the abdomen. That's good. It means it's less likely that there's internal bleeding." "See? Polly says I'm okay." Max winced as Polly gently poked him. "Nothing's broken. Nothing's shifting," Polly said. "Thanks," Max rasped. Elle gasped and dropped the key as she saw the bruising across Max's torso. She put her hands to her mouth. Max lowered his shirt. Polly stuck up a couple of fingers. "How many?" "2." Max rolled his eyes. "What day is it?" "Tuesday." The date? Polly persisted. November 20th, Max muttered. Do we have a flashlight? Polly asked. Elle grabbed a key from the floor. I thought there was one by the first aid kit. Noah offered his phone. There's a flashlight app. What do you need a flashlight? Max questioned. I'm okay. Polly shone the flashlight from the phone in his eyes, and Max tried to turn his head. Hold still. That's bright, Max complained. I think he has a concussion. It just looks like a lot of bruising and cracked ribs. Polly handed Noah back his phone. You can go to the hospital and rack up a bill, but unless he starts vomiting or the headache gets worse, I'd probably just make him lie down. And where did you get your medical degree? Not to be rude, but this is my brother. Noah looked at Max. Polly shrugged. I used to bounce at a fight club before it got shut down. He's your brother, you do what you think is best. Probably end up bringing him to the hospital later anyways. I'm not going to the hospital, Max sighed. Look, if you want, I'll rest for a while. Elle, could you get the door to the apartment open? Noah looked at Polly. Help me drag him upstairs? Sure thing. Polly put Max's arm over his shoulder, and with Noah's help, they gently helped him to stand. Elle led the way to the apartment upstairs. She'd grown up there, and her parents still lived there in the cramped but homey space. It was slow going, especially on the stairs, which weren't wide enough to accommodate all three men at the same time. Finally, they managed to get to the second-floor apartment and reached the couch where Max collapsed onto it in some relief. Thought you said you were fine, Polly commented. Maybe I need a little rest, Max rasped, holding his ribs. He stretched out on the couch, closing his eyes. Someone should stay with him. Aurora hasn't shown up yet. Is there someone you could call to sit with him? We're going to be slammed downstairs with only 3 people running the restaurant, Elle worried. What about your brother Michael? Could he come? I'll find someone. Why don't you and Polly get started downstairs, and as soon as I can get someone to look after Max, I'll come down. Noah thought about who he could call. Michael would get in serious trouble from their dad if he was caught here. Noah didn't want to alarm his mom. If you need anything, let us know. Elle looked at Max one more time. Are you certain you don't need to go to the hospital? I'm good. Max waved a hand at her, not even opening his eyes. Elle shook her head and grabbed a blanket from her parents' room, draping it over Max. He starts throwing up, or if the headache gets worse, he goes to the hospital, Polly said as he headed out the door. We'll be right downstairs. Elle gave them both a worried look before following Polly. Noah took out his phone and dialed the number. He hoped he wasn't overstepping their friendship by asking her to do this. Hi, Beth. I have a favor to ask. 20 minutes later, Noah answered the knock at the door. Max had swallowed a couple of pain pills and was now sleeping. Noah let Beth in. I'm sorry about this, but I wasn't sure who else might be able to keep an eye on him. Noah grimaced. If Al wasn't in such a spot with being short-staffed, I'd look after him myself. It's fine. I'll sit with him. Bethany took off her coat, draping it over a chair. I brought a book to read. I have my phone on me, so if anything happens, you can just call me and I'll be right up. I plan on looking on him during my breaks anyways, Noah explained. Go. We'll be okay. Beth took off her boots. You're going to have to explain to me why you are working a restaurant, though. But that can wait until later. Max is working at the restaurant, Noah sighed. I'm following him around, trying to repair our relationship. He wasn't talking to me, so I decided to be a pain in his neck and got a job where he worked. This is still over the class action lawsuit and the diabetic drug, isn't it? She asked. It's because Max can't find a better job since he was thrown out of Ramesly Pharma. How do you know about that? Noah wondered. Bethany sighed. Mr. Ramesly and my father discussed it at great length. They disagreed on the need to alienate Max. It was one of the few things our fathers ever argued about. It's torn our family apart, Noah remarked as he looked at the sleeping Max. Go. Bethany put a hand on his arm. I'll make sure that he's okay. Noah covered her hand with his. Thank you, Beth. I really appreciate this. She gave him one of her small smiles, and with a last look at Max, Noah went back downstairs to help at the restaurant. They were busy with all staff pulling double duties. Noah quickly got on his apron and took over his section of the restaurant. "How is Max doing?" Elle asked as she grabbed the coffee pot. "Sleeping." Noah quickly tallied a bill. "I've got Bethany looking after him." "Bethany? The friend that you've been dating?" Elle asked. "We're not dating," Noah said automatically. He mentally kicked himself afterward. He guessed they were dating. "You'd better figure out what you're doing before you end up not married to her." Elle rolled her eyes and went to serve some customers. She was intensely curious about this Bethany woman. Right now, Noah's girlfriend was upstairs in her parents' apartment. She decided she would have to take one of her breaks and meet her. She wondered if her curiosity was unhealthy. After all, Noah wasn't her boyfriend. He could date whomever he liked. Elle eyed Noah and felt a flutter of attraction. She didn't want him dating whomever he liked. Elle wondered just how serious they really were. She wondered what it would be like to kiss him. She tried to push the thoughts out of her head, yet the idea persisted. She liked Noah. More than she should, considering the circumstances. How many other men would have followed their brother into a job that they were clearly overqualified for? How many others would have persisted when their brother wanted them to leave? He treated all the customers well. He tried, even in circumstances he wasn't comfortable with. He was smart. He was easy to talk to. He was attractive and made her insides do funny things. She was falling in love with a man who was dating another woman. Well, like Aurora said, he wasn't married yet. Elle closed her eyes. That was a thought that would get her into trouble. She wasn't a woman who stole a man away from another woman. She wished her mamma was home so she could talk to her about the whole business. Maybe she should give her a call tonight. She needed some advice. First, Elle would meet the competition. Bethany looked up from her book as Max sighed and tried to adjust his position on the couch. He grimaced and put a hand to his head. "You might be more comfortable on the bed," she observed. He cracked an eye open and looked at her. "Who are you?" "Bethany Searson." She put her bookmark in between the pages to mark her place. "Would you like some water?" "Not really." Max looked at her. "You grew up." Bethany couldn't help but smile with a little amusement at his remark. People do that. "I just remember you as this kid at the beach house," Max said. Bethany didn't remember Max or any beach house. She didn't remember much of her childhood. "What was I like?" "A brat." Max frowned. "I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that." "No, I'd rather you were honest." She didn't feel insulted in the least. "It's still not a nice thing to say." Max was a little ashamed of his comment of her. "I'm sure I wasn't a real treat that summer anyways. I had a broken collarbone and I've never been a fan of sitting still." Bethany's brow puckered as she tried to remember, but there was nothing there. "I'm afraid I don't remember." "Well, we can pretend that we're meeting now," Max offered. "Hi, I'm Max, and I'm not normally this rude." She took his hand in greeting. "Bethany, pleased to meet you." "So you're dating my brother?" Max raised an eyebrow. "He's been kind enough to escort me to some events," Bethany said. "We're getting to know each other." "What do you think of him?" He was curious. Bethany thought for a moment. "I like him. Noah is kind, and he's very generous to me." "Generous? That's an odd thing to say." Max winced. "Sorry, I'm being a bit rude again." "I think what I mean to say is that he's been very generous with his time. Most men, in my experience, expect a certain type of dating with me. Dinner, the ballet, a musical." She tried to explain. "I've asked Noah for something a little different. He's taken me to a football game. I've never been to one, and he was very patient explaining the rules, what everything meant. He's willing to do other activities with me without any judgment." "You don't look like a football type of girl," Max said. Bethany smiled a little. "I don't know what type of girl I am. Everyone treats me like I'm made of glass and about to break. It's nice to have someone who's simply being my friend and willing to share new experiences with me." "What did you think of your first football game?" he asked curiously. "It was very confusing," she confided, "but I'd like to go to another. We're going to try curling this week." "Watching curling?" Max thought he'd rather watch paint dry. "No, we're going to play it at the local club," she said. "Noah curls?" Max frowned. He never thought his brother would do that. It wasn't exactly an exciting sport, in his opinion. No, it's going to be a first experience for both of us. She'd set down her book. Would you like to go lay on the bed? It would probably be more comfortable for you. I'm probably going to need a hand getting up, Max grimaced. I'm stronger than I look. Bethany took the blanket off him and helped him to sit up. Max sat for a moment with his eyes closed. Dizzy? A little, he rasped. Mostly the ribs just hurt. What happened? She asked. I got mugged. Did you report it to the police? Bethany questioned. It's not a big deal. They just got a little cash in my phone, Max shrugged. What if they steal from someone else? She softly inquired. Hopefully that someone can hit harder than I can. Max took a deep breath. Okay, let's give this a try. Together they managed to get him up on his feet. After a few moments to adjust, Max put his arm around Bethany and let her lead him into the bedroom. He gratefully sat on the bed. Noah called you to watch me? He was needed in the restaurant and didn't want you to be alone, she explained. I'm glad to do it. Are you two getting serious? He inquired. We're friends, Bethany gently said. I like your brother, but we're just getting to know each other right now. Max frowned. He had a feeling that there was some sparks between Elle and Noah. He hoped Bethany wouldn't be hurt if Noah ended the relationship. She seemed very nice. Why don't you lay down? Bethany asked. Max nodded and let her help him. He closed his eyes as she pulled a blanket over him. Thanks. You're welcome. She fiddled with the blinds and the room dimmed a little. Max appreciated that. It would make it easier to sleep. He listened to her go back to the living area. Bethany Searson had grown up to become one beautiful, classy lady. A lady who wanted to experience football games and curling, he mused sleepily. He wondered if he should tag along, just to see how Noah coped with the experience. It might be interesting. Bethany settled down with her book again. Max would probably sleep for a while. He hadn't seemed to be especially pleased when she said that she and Noah were friends and getting to know each other. She mildly wondered why. Then again, maybe the obvious headache had something to do with his frown. The door to the apartment opened and Bethany turned to see a very pretty woman come in. Hi, how is he? Sleeping. He's in the bedroom now. I thought it would be more comfortable. Bethany studied the dark beauty for a moment. She really was very lovely. Oh, good. Elle peeked in on Max, who was snoring softly. Thank you for watching him. It's no problem, Bethany said. He's mostly slept. You must be Elle. I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. Elle flushed a little. I'm Elle. Noah and Max are currently working for me. Bethany smiled and held out her hand in greeting. Bethany Searson. Elle shook her hand. So, you and Noah. There was a slight edge to Elle's question, Bethany thought. She wondered if Elle might have a liking for the middle Ramesly brother. Yes, he's a wonderful man. He is, Elle agreed. She looked at the classy blonde before her. Suddenly she felt like there was no way these two could be just friends. Elle didn't like the way that made her feel like she was sizing up the competition. There were definitely some very interesting undercurrents going on here, Bethany decided. Suddenly she wondered what Noah thought of Elle. If you need anything, let me know. Elle held out a laminated sheet, her pretext for meeting Noah's girlfriend complete. I brought a menu. Lunch is on me. Just call down what you'd like and I'll get Noah to bring it up. Thank you. I'll do that. Bethany appreciated the offer. It was nice to meet you. Yes, it was good to meet you too. Elle gave her a smile that she didn't quite feel and left the apartment. She paused on the stairs. Bethany was almost achingly beautiful. She was graceful with Dancer's long, lean body. Any man would be drawn to her. There was something about her, Elle thought, like she almost knew Elle's feelings for Noah, which was silly since they had just met. Elle barely could sort out her own feelings for Noah, no matter her worry about falling for him, but she did know that she felt fiercely jealous now that she'd met his girlfriend. Bethany was definitely going to be hard to go against if Elle did decide to pursue Noah. Elle returned to the restaurant and tried her best not to keep glancing at Noah. It was hard to keep her attention on her job, and she found herself making a few mistakes, which were very out of character for her. She really did not need to be infatuated with this man, and yet she was. Noah brought up lunch for Bethany and Max. A simple salad with chicken for Beth. No wonder she was so lean, Elle thought. Elle was the type of woman who liked to eat food, especially food that wasn't particularly good for her, but she worked out at a gym to combat her bad eating habits. It was funny because she was the dietitian. Since she'd been working at the restaurant, she hadn't bothered with the gym as she'd been walking off everything that she ate. Elle watched the clock and was surprised that Noah didn't overstay his break, checking up on his brother and talking to his girlfriend. Correction, the girl he wasn't dating, or so he said. She frowned. He really needed to make up his mind on that. She managed to get through the rest of the shift without incident, except for the moment where she and Noah passed each other through the kitchen door and she brushed up against him. He sent her nerves sizzling and her stomach bottoming out. They both ignored the kissing bow over their heads, and thankfully no one else seemed to have noticed. Elle wasn't sure she could take a kiss from Noah right now. She was too on edge around him. She had this absurd notion that a kiss from him would be the stuff of fantasies. She wasn't sure she could deal with that if he was dating Bethany. At the end of the night, Noah went to check on Max again. Elle lingered in the restaurant, doing a little extra cleaning that really didn't need to be done. Ramos went home, and she was surprised to find Polly and Aurora talking in the alley behind the kitchen when she went to put out the garbage. Aurora kissed Polly on the cheek, giving him a saucy grin, and then sashayed away down the sidewalk. Polly watched her go. "She's trouble," Elle warned. She knew they were both adults. Yet she liked Polly and didn't want him to go through any disappointment when Aurora inevitably left again. "I know," Polly shrugged. "Still, it's like a moth to the flame." An apt analogy, since they both knew he'd likely get burned. "Good luck with that." "Thanks." Polly leaned against the alley wall. "What about you in the middle, Ramesly brother?" "He's got a non-girlfriend." Elle put the garbage in the bin and locked the lid. "I guess that probably makes him off limits." "A heart wants what it wants, Elle," Polly said quietly, "even when it's not good for us." Elle nodded. "That's very true." "What are you going to do about it?" he asked. "You going to let the non-girlfriend win?" "It's not a competition," Elle smiled. "Well, you need anything, you let me know," Polly offered. "Thanks, I will." Elle wrapped her coat around herself a little tighter. "Now, get home before you freeze out here." "Yes, boss." Polly grinned cheekily and left the alley to make his way down the street. Elle watched him go for a moment, then decided to find out how Max was. He was her employee, so she had a right to know, she reasoned. It wasn't because she wanted to see Noah again. Not at all, she lied to herself as she climbed the stairs and let herself in, knocking on the door. She found them in the bedroom, talking to Max, who was sitting on the edge of the bed. "Noah," Beth said sternly, "we agreed. I am not made of glass. I can help you bring him down to the car." Noah sighed. "I would just feel better if I grabbed Polly a moment." "Too late," Elle interjected. "He left." Noah looked displeased and eyed his brother. "I'm not dizzy any more. I'm sure I can make it down some stairs," Max said. "Why?" Elle asked. "He can stay here." "I thought I'd take him home with me," Noah said. "Let him stay. Then he doesn't have to go down the stairs. The heat is on, the water is on. I can bring up a few groceries from the restaurant tomorrow, or we can just cook something and bring it up again," Elle offered. "It would probably be better for him if he just rested rather than moving him." "Hey, I'm here." Max looked at them. "I can hear you." Elle ignored him. "Noah, you can stay overnight in the other bedroom. It's not a big deal. I can leave the key on the kitchen table." "Are you sure?" Noah asked. Bethany regarded the obviously pained Max. "It would probably be better for you if you just stayed here." "I'm sure," Elle said in response to Noah. She was glad she could do this for them. Noah looked at Max. "What would you prefer? Come to my place or stay here? And don't give me any of that brave I'm fine stuff, because we know it's not true." "Truthfully," Max sighed, "I'd rather just go back to sleep." "Fine, then we'll stay the night," Noah said. "Thanks, Elle." "You're welcome," Elle responded. "Have a good night's sleep, Max." "Thanks," he gave her a lopsided smile. Elle went to the kitchen. She took the apartment key off her keyring and set it on the table. "Thank you for doing this, Elle." Bethany followed her. "It will help if you can just sleep and heal." Elle nodded. She wished Bethany wasn't so gracious. How has he been? He's not dizzy any more, and the headache is less, Bethany said. His ribs still hurt a lot. The pain is making him tired. Well, hopefully he gets a good night's sleep, then. Elle forced a smile. Good night, Bethany. Good night, Elle, she responded in kind and walked Elle to the door. Elle hoped she wasn't staying the night with the two brothers. It really was none of her business, yet Elle lingered in her car and was rewarded when both Bethany and Noah came down the stairs, talking. Noah walked Bethany to her car. They paused, and Noah opened her door. Elle decided that the brothers had definitely been raised to be gentlemen. Bethany listened as Noah talked a moment, then she laid a hand on his arm. Elle's stomach clenched. She watched as Beth leaned up and gave Noah a kiss on the cheek. Then she got in her car with Noah shutting the door. Not exactly a kiss goodnight, Elle thought. She didn't know quite what to make of it, as she watched Bethany drive away. Part of her was glad she had stayed because it solidified Noah's claim of them not exactly dating. Another part of her was disappointed that she was reduced to spying. Elle sighed and watched Noah go back up to the apartment. He was going to sleep in her old bed. Elle pushed away the thought and started her car. She really was a sad case. Maybe she should call her mamma for advice. Then again, she knew her mamma would likely tell her to go and get what she wanted. She'd always been that type of woman. Seize the day and all that. Elle drove home and debated the wisdom of trying to win Noah. After all, what had Polly said? Was she going to let the non-girlfriend win?